Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk to you about taking your dogs to the outdoors with you, camping or hiking or doing whatever it is that you like to do. First, I'm going to give you some considerations and some questions you need to ask yourself, and this is regarding the physical and legal safety of your dog. Then I'm going to give you some tips about camping and hiking, where you could take your dog or dogs and what your preferences are. You also need to consider your dog's personality, and I will talk about that some more. Then I'm going to give you some things you need to have with your dog, as well as some optional things that will make things a lot easier, and that refers to camping and hiking. So the first thing you need to do is look at your dog objectively. Look at the size and the breed and the dog's personality. Are they good with dogs? Are you sure? Are they going to attack a dog or bite? Or are they going to be friendly? The only way you can absolutely be sure is that you have witnessed your dog being playful with other dogs, small dogs, big dogs, puppies, several dogs at the same time on several occasions. And then you can probably say, okay, my dog is cool. He is not going to hurt anyone. Are they good with people? Are they going to act aggressively and bark loudly just at the sight of a person? Or are they going to be just, kind of ignoring them? Are they going to be friendly? Are they jumpy? Breed and size, this is important to consider because your dog could be the sweetest dog and will never harm a human or will never harm a dog, but a lot of people are afraid of them just due to their size. You also need to realize that some people have had bad experiences. If they have been bit by a dog, they will never look at a dog the same way we do. So you need to be considerate of that. Now, I'm sure you know this, but I do want to stress this. Your dog is your responsibility. Your dogs are like little children. Actually, the smartest dogs would reach the intelligence level of about a 4 or 5 year old kid. And I think that's how my dog is. One of them, she's pretty smart. The other one, not so much. At times, your dogs will actually be even smarter than your little 4-year-olds because they have really good instincts. So while your 4-year-old will possibly walk into the forest and get lost and never come back and not know how to come back, your dog will find a way. Or your little 4-year-old might walk out to a cliff and fall because they don't realize there's danger, or put their hand in the fire, things like that. And your dogs will already have those instincts not to do that, but they are still like little kids, and as a dog owner, it's your responsibility to look over them. They will look over you, especially the larger dogs. They will protect you and look out for you. So this is one of those symbiotic relationships. But as a dog owner, you also need to make sure your dog is legally safe. So this is why I asked you if your dog is okay with other dogs and if he's good with humans. So for example, in most states, in most places, there's a leash law. So even in campgrounds, even in the forests, your dog is supposed to be on a leash no longer than 6 feet. Sometimes it says that they have to be within recall distance, and that means your dog has to come back when you call him. If he can't do that, he's got to be on a leash. So for example, if your dog attacks another dog, you will have some huge medical bills to pay, and you will have to live with the fact what your dog did to another dog. Now, if your dog is on a leash, most of the time it's not going to be your fault. You had your dog on a leash. If another dog walked up to it, he protected you or himself, so it's going to be okay in most cases. If your dog is off the leash, it doesn't matter. If another dog walks up to him, then they could say he started the fight or whatever. So protect your dog by having him on a leash when you know you are going to be around people. As far as people are concerned, that's a different story. If your dog bites someone and they break the skin, there's blood, or it's just, breaking bones and things like that, there's a huge chance that the court will order your dog to be put down. And I know I don't have to tell you this, we don't want that. So this is what I mean by you have to protect your dog. So, for example, here's my dog, Misha. She would never hurt a soul, human or a dog, but she likes to jump on people. So what if she runs up to a little 5-year-old kid, jumps on him, he falls, hits his head? now that dog was at fault, and it's a human that's involved, and that's a huge problem. And of course, if the child gets injured, I have to live with that fact. And she might have to be put down. I don't know how that would work. I am not taking that chance, right? Or what if there's a pregnant lady and your large 150-pound dog wants to run up to her and jump on her playingly or whatever, and the lady falls and something happens to the baby? Again, you have to deal with the fact that you caused that, and your dog will have to pay the price besides the lady and her baby. So these are things you have to always keep in mind, and whatever decisions you make, you have to consider these facts. Let's talk about the fun facts. Let's talk about camping and hiking. So when you go camping with your dog, where can you go? So I would say the most strictest ones are national park campgrounds and RV campgrounds. Although there are some national parks that are somewhat dog friendly, most of them would not allow a dog on any hiking trails or anywhere outside your vehicle. And the campground, like I said before, they have to be leashed up, and otherwise they have to be in the vehicle. They might have one hiking trail in some parks where you could take your dog on. Now, I just want you to know this because I don't want you to just, go visit national parks hoping you could hike all these areas with your dog, and then you find out that you have to change your plans. So before you do this, at the very least, Google the national park and find out what you can and cannot do with your dog, and then make your plans accordingly. And you cannot leave your dog unattended. And unattended means he could be in a crate in your truck, and that is still considered unattended. So he is safe, and everybody is safe from him. He can bite anyone, but he can still bark, and people don't like that. So you will get in trouble if you do that. Campgrounds, they normally are much better. Your dog will have to be on a leash, depending on your dog's personality. So if she stays with you and will not wander off, and you're keeping an eye on your dog the whole time and there are no other dogs around, then I would say sometimes you can take the leash off. But like I said, you have to be on it. You have to be very observant of what's going on. If you have larger distances between campgrounds, then it's even better. My favorite is public land camping. Right here where I am, this whole area is mine, and I don't have to have my dogs on a leash. Public land often, but not always, means national forest. And on public land, you can camp, hunt, and fish for up to 14 consecutive days in the same spot. Sometimes you might see signs that would say no shooting or no hunting because it's close to a residential area, or no camping, but that doesn't happen too often. Just make sure you look out for those signs. But in this case, you could have the whole area to yourself. The next camper is usually far, far away, and a lot of times you can actually find developed campgrounds, and they are usually free, and they would often have a bench and a bathroom, a fire ring. Sometimes it's just a fire ring, but it indicates that it is perfectly fine to camp there. So this is my favorite, and this is where I camp 99% of the time. So when you take your dog hiking in a national forest, which is, like I said, public land, you're supposed to still have them on a leash. Now, I myself would hate that. My dog would be pulling me, trying to sniff everything, and I feel like that's so restraining. I want her to have the chance to sniff and look at everything, explore, and I don't want to be always yanking her back. So what I normally do is put their leash on, but let them go. So if I ever have to catch them, it's easy to step on the leash. You can just grab it. If I hear anyone coming, if I absolutely know there were no cars parked, I don't hear anybody, no noise whatsoever, and it looks deserted, especially if I know the area, people usually don't go there, then I do this. But if I know there's somebody there, then at least I hold on to the dog just to at least find out if they have a dog, right? And then I kind of see what's going on. But having that leash on them makes it so much easier. So this is a list of things you want to consider bringing with you. You don't have to do everything. You'll see what your dog likes, you see your situation is, but I'm just going to give you a lot of things to consider. So first of all, you obviously have to bring their dog food and their dog bowls, their water bowls, extra water for them, lots of water. They tend to drink a lot more water sometimes as we do, so make sure you account for that. You will need their leash, their normal, 4, 5, 6 feet leash. You also might want to bring a cable tie out. So if you have to put your dog on a leash, you can make it 25 feet long. At least at a campsite, they can kind of move around, but they still can't go anywhere further. Depending on the campsite, you can do that. Another option that you can do is buy one of those retractable leashes. So this is one, and I have it tied out here on my RV, and I have Zima, the dog that always takes off. I have her on it, and this way I know that she's not going to get tangled up, and she can kind of move around a little bit. You can also consider bringing their crate if that's what they use at home, or you probably have one anyways if you're transporting them in the back of your truck. Misha is crate trained, and I can actually take the crate off of the truck and put it in front of my RV and put her in there for 4 or 5 hours, and she will feel safe and she's not going to bark or cry. If you have dog beds at home for your dogs, which I have had dogs for about 8 years now, and I have just gotten them some beds this past year, and I noticed that when I bring them camping, even in a tent or in an RV, they love it. In fact, Zima would never lay on her bed at home ever, but when I bring her camping in the tent or in the RV, she goes right in there. So I don't know what's going on with that, but she obviously loves it and feels safe. If you don't have any dog beds, I don't think you have to buy them. I mean, this whole time I was camping with my dogs, and they were sleeping with me in the tent on the floor, and I mean, they're dogs. They should be fine. That was my mentality. So it will be perfectly fine if you just have them sleep like that. Hiking backpacks for your dogs, those could be useful if you go hiking. I mean, might as well have them carry their own water. Like I said, they need a lot of water, and why should I be the one carrying all that when I have to carry my own? And this actually gives them a sense of like they have a job. They actually focus their attention more. It's actually good for them. You can also consider getting them some dog boots. They're little silicone little boots you put on their feet, and they might feel weird at first. But if you're going to be walking on really hot rocks and, hot surfaces, or in the snow in the winter for a long time, then this could protect their feet. Flea and tick repellent, very important. There are various kinds out there. You should also bring a tweezer if you see anything on them, especially already in their skin, which you should check them all the time. You can just use a tweezer to pull it out. If you are going to be hiking in areas where other people might be hunting and you have a larger dog, you might want to get one of those orange vests that they actually use for dogs that are hunting. But even though you're not hunting, your dog is out in the hunting ground. You don't want someone to think it's a coyote and shoot him, especially German Shepherds. They look so much like coyotes, and Huskies can look like wolves. One more thing you need to bring, I think, is their toys. Chew toys and maybe bones they chew on. Those big ones, you could buy them to keep them occupied. Maybe bring even new ones. You don't want them to be bored if you have some downtime at the campsite. They will be very happy to chew on something. As far as eating is concerned, just bring their food. You're going to feed them the same time as before. So for me, that goes in the morning and in the evening. You probably want to give them more food because they will be more active, especially if you're going to go on some hikes. Give them some additional food for the extra needed energy. I would suggest to have a trial run for whatever it is that you're doing. So if this is your first time going camping with your dog, just make it a one-night trip. If you're going on a hike and this is the first time you're taking your dog on a real hike, just keep it 1 or 2 miles first. Don't go steep uphill for like 10 miles because you don't know how your dog will be able to handle it. So these are my tips for you and your doggies in the outdoors. It's just so different to have a living creature. If it's not a human, it's a dog. Same thing, sometimes even better. It just makes it so much more fun. And your dogs need exercise, especially the larger breeds. German Shepherds and Huskies, they're high energy dogs. They need to run and explore and everything. So this way you can have fun and your doggies can be right there with you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.